Welcome to Jim's Reinvention Revolution podcast, the show that explores reinvention in the digital age as it relates to career, creativity, and technology. Stay tuned for interviews with professionals, entrepreneurs, and creatives that have reimagined success and are making a pivot. If you'd like to listen to the entire back catalog, visit jimreinventionrevolution.com for instant access. And now, here's your host, Jim.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 1 of Jim's Reinvention Revolution podcast. And today we're talking, safety supplies, digital marketing, dropshipping, Kindle book publishing, and online dating apps. Believe it or not, all those go together somehow. Because sitting here next to me is Michael Cash. And I'll tell you a little bit about Michael. He's a sales superstar, digital marketer, military veteran, and has amazing stories of reinvention from being, homeless to reinventing this old industrial supply business. So, pretty amazing guy. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I like being here.
All right. What's going on, man?
Not much. Just got in. It was a long night. Worked till like 3 in the morning, so I was sleeping in. Yeah.
So you're crushing it.
That's why I was a little bit late today.
Okay. Very good. I see that. So why don't you tell people how we met, kind of, and
Sure.
And what's going on here today? Where are we at? Where are we sitting?
So we're at the Launchhouse. Launchhouse is a entrepreneurial community that brings entrepreneurs together that are looking for advice, tips, people to help push their business forward and give them the creative edge that they need. I came here right after I quit my job as a financial advisor at Northwestern Mutual. I was stuck in that corporate lifestyle and I wasn't really happy, so I decided to look for an avenue where I could explore my ideas and get the help that I needed because I wasn't prepared for entrepreneurship yet.
Right.
So I came here and, I met all my good friends and I met you. And so I've been here since November. It's been about 8 months now.
Okay, so not that long.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's an interesting point that you just made here. And that's kind of part of what I want to kind of highlight for the show is sort of this mindset of where you were at when you were at your last job.
Yeah.
And why you thought at this moment in time, I got to get out of here and change. Something needs to be changed up.
Because I was spending, it was like mostly like a false sense of happiness and success when I was at my last job because we were forced to wear nice suits every day. Mm-hmm. You got to drink free alcohol a lot at the office, like with your boss who was making $500,000 a year, $600,000 a year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
And they would rent out spaces downtown. They'd have like corporate parties, and you'd be around all these people that looked very successful. And
right.
at the end of the day, I was spending most of my time not making the phone calls or the action that the steps I needed to take to get more clients and make more money. I was spending my time, writing stories in my cubicle or drawing pictures of inventions I want to make and things like that. Yeah. So my bosses, they started to figure out why I wasn't doing so well. They're like, oh, you're clearly not doing the activity that you need to do. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I have these passions. I want to be an entrepreneur, and I think I want to do that more so than I want to do this job. And they're like, well, you need to make a decision.
I see.
That's
interesting. Let me ask you one more question. Just probe that around a little bit because it sounds like what you're describing for a lot of people might seem like a dream job. Like you get to go to parties. Mm-hmm. You have the potential to make tons of money. And it sounds like it's a nice environment, a cushy environment.
Complete freedom too.
Right?
If you want to have a meeting out at the bar and have a beer with your client, that's what you do.
Okay.
And no one's controlling where you go or when you go.
Oh, that's very interesting. So, but obviously, within yourself, you thought I'm not sure this is for me, or you weren't excited about those opportunities that environment presented somehow.
Yeah, I just wasn't passionate about it, and I went to work unhappy every day for the most part, and I was really only happy if I was out and about chasing people around, even though I wasn't making money. I was free in a sense. So that was the positive side of that job.
I see.
That I really liked.
I gotcha.
And it really taught me a lot of how to actually run a business on the back end wise, of how to build a book of business with clients, how to do some financials, follow-ups especially, talk paths, things like that for sales. Yeah,
that's the sales part, which to me, I'm not a natural salesperson. I'm learning more about it as I go. My background's engineering and music and a bunch of other things, but that's why I kind of noticed you, and it's like, hey, I think this guy is really a natural sales type person because you're so engaging, got this great charisma, great energy, and you're authentic. So some people come off that are in the sales realm as sort of cheesy or they're trying to manipulate, and I've never gotten that feeling from you.
No.
And that's why I've been drawn to you. I wanted to have you on the show because it's like, wow, this guy is got it actually.
Appreciate
in terms of being authentic and charismatic, and he's really looking out for whoever he's trying to deal with and do business with.
Always.
And that just draws people to you and will draw success to you, if you ask me. So
awesome.
So yeah,
appreciate that.
A lot of fun. Yeah. So just my observations, even though we haven't known each other that long. But so you go from there and you decide. Do you just tell your boss, give you resignation one day, or what?
Yeah. So they gave me that choice the first time, and they showed me all these numbers again, like, oh, you can make this much money, and
I see.
you can golf every weekend if you want. And I'm like, oh man, all right, I'll stay. I'll stick around for another month and see how it goes.
Okay.
And that month, I just spent even more time doing what I wanted to do for myself, like working on ideas. I was writing this book called The Paperback Dad at the time. And then
The Paperback Dad?
The Paperback Dad.
That's
because,
interesting.
Yeah, we can get into that.
Title.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was basically just like a manual for kids who needed like a lot of lessons that fathers should teach their kids growing up.
I see. Okay.
And I didn't have my father figure growing up.
I gotcha.
Well,
let's circle back to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But keep going. How you kind of got into
and so they gave me that
finding the Launchhouse.
They gave me that ultimatum again, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go. I gotta quit my job, and I'm gonna chase these dreams now while I'm young, because I was 23, and I was just like, I'm only getting older, and I'm not gonna, I'm gonna have kids one day, hopefully, and things like that, and I'm not gonna do it as strong as I can now. So I made that choice, and the first thing I came up with, I wanted to start a creative space called the Owl Collective, and it was going to be a creative space for entrepreneurs to come together and work together. And I was researching places in the area and try to get some ideas, and I came across the Launchhouse.
I see. Okay.
And I actually was like, I should probably just join the Launchhouse. And the first article I came across was that they actually got shut down in Shaker Heights, and that their renewal was up, and the city was taking it away. And I'm like, wow.
I see. So just for those of you kind of listening around the world, wherever you may be, out on the West Coast or maybe in Thailand, since I know I have some friends out there. I've been traveling in those parts of the world lately. Where are we at? Where's Shaker Heights at?
Shaker Heights is east of Cleveland, right near the lake of Lake Erie.
Okay.
About 10 minutes east of Cleveland.
Right. So Paul Newman, I believe, is famously from Shaker Heights, and
a
bunch of other Hollywood people. Yeah, like writers and people.
Super nice area.
Yeah, grow up there and go to New York and work on Saturday Night Live and those kind of people.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Yeah. I love
a little
Shaker
connection
Heights
there, but very nice suburb of Cleveland. And so this Launchhouse co-working space was originally working in Cleveland Heights. They had a location in Cleveland Heights. I'm sorry, Shaker Heights.
Yep, correct.
Yeah. So.
And so I thought they were done for. I thought it was gone, and I didn't know that they were looking for new spaces, things like that. So I continued on trying to build my space, and I met a lot of good connections in the entrepreneurial world, where I started to gain some ground and traction in terms of what I needed to do and who I needed to talk to make my ideas work. And then I met Seva, which Seva.
Yep.
And we started doing digital marketing and stuff together. And then he was like, "Hey, I heard about this place in Highland Heights that just opened up. We should go check it out." And
so you met Seva before you came to Launchhouse?
I did.
I didn't know that.
And he actually brought me here on a whim. I had no idea, and I show up and I see the sign that says Launchhouse.
So how did you meet Seva? Were you guys buddies before? Or no?
So as soon as I quit my Northwestern job, I figured, branding, right? Branding. Yeah. You have to brand yourself as what you want to become. So I was branding myself as an entrepreneur.
Wait a second. Say that again.
Branding.
You want to brand yourself
myself as an entrepreneur because...
As what you want to become.
Yeah, you have to brand yourself.
That is huge, man. Yeah. I mean, that's like...
Yeah, you got to brand yourself for what
you want. And how old are you? Okay. I'm just thinking, I would have had this thought process probably at your age when I was growing up, okay, let's say. And this is part of what I think the new world, the new digital world for sure, is bringing to everybody. This concept at a much earlier age.
The ability to reinvent yourself.
The ability to reinvent yourself and to consider yourself a brand, which I think everybody now is, because even if you're working in the corporate world, you still have your social media. You have these connections that they want to get a picture of you now.
Yeah.
They want to have a profile, even within a company, so that when you email people, your face is going to pop up. I mean, whether you like it or not, you're a brand. You're an image.
Always.
Right?
Always.
To somebody for whatever reason, or whether you're being an entrepreneur or not. And that is a very a good way to think you it, a sophisticated way to think about it, because it's like that's the reality of what we're dealing with these days.
Exactly.
So branding. So you were thinking that, and that's how you sought out Seva, or?
So actually, I was so I started posting entrepreneurial type content on Instagram and things like that, and then one day, maybe like 3 days after I quit my job, after putting 3 days worth of content out as an entrepreneur, I got a direct message on Instagram, and it was like, hey, I saw you're an entrepreneur in Cleveland.
Whoa.
I'm like, hey,
that's crazy.
you know, yeah, sure, I'm an entrepreneur in Cleveland.
Right.
Of course, that's what I'm trying to be.
Right.
So he's like, let's meet up for coffee, and let's share our ideas and what we're working on and things like that. And
I had no idea about this. This is great.
yeah, so we met randomly. He messaged me on Instagram out of nowhere, said he
Okay.
saw my picture through hashtags, I'm assuming, and
Right.
then we met up for coffee, and that's how I met Seva, and he brought me here, and
Okay.
been here ever since.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. So you guys obviously hit it off.
Yeah, we were similar mindsets. Had the same goals in life to have a
Okay.
lot of freedom and things
Mhm.
like that. So
Right. Yeah, I'd love to have Seva on at some point, so I talk to him about that.
definitely,
So
yeah.
we'll get him on at some point. Okay, so you discovered the Launchhouse, and then, how long did it kind of take you to? I mean, you've come such a long way. I think when I first met you, you were sort of just learning a lot about the digital world and digital marketing and Facebook and kind of all the social media things out there. But you seem to absorb it pretty quickly, and now I would say you're probably ahead of a lot of people that aren't directly in it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially just the average general business person. I think you're way ahead of them now. So, and this has happened in a short time, so that's good news for people that want to get into it.
Right, and the thing was, I just dove into it. I didn't,
Yeah.
I didn't think about it too much. I just, once the opportunity presented itself, I took it. I jumped into it, and I started learning everything I could.
Right.
All my free time was spent learning about Facebook ads and Instagram and all that. So.
Gotcha. And that's what's obviously led to your opportunity to, work in this new old industrial company that you guys are approaching.
Yeah, we're trying to make
together.
our modern spin to it and try to provide a better service for the modern world. For sure. Yeah.
Awesome. So, and your background is not in computer science. It's not in technology, right? Did you go to school? So let's maybe circle back a little bit before we talk specifically about your business, which you're reinventing this safety supply business in this niche. What was your educational background and maybe because you said you were in the military at one point,
right? And I have a reason why I joined the military.
Okay,
for sure, and it has to do with education. So.
Yeah, let's talk about that because this is like another part of you that I notice is just this mindset that you have of, and maybe that's stimulated by your family background or whatever it might be. But I think it's a necessary requirement or something that's really beneficial to have is like figuring out and realizing when and why you need to reinvent yourself.
Right.
Like being able to observe your environment and think like, what's going on here? Is this a good path I'm on or not? And if it is, that's cool. And if it's not, then you got to figure out how to change it. So tell me kind of where you grew up or how you grew up, let's say. And
I grew up.
What your family life was like.
I grew up in the middle of nowhere. Well, I was born in San Francisco and I moved here when I was 5 years old when my parents got divorced.
Okay.
My mom met my stepdad shortly afterwards. About a year later, we were living in a trailer for about a year when we moved back to Ohio. My stepdad was a successful real estate guy, and so I got to see him working all the time and on his own thing. So that helped kind of ingrain business into my mind at an early age.
Like a good work ethic, like
correct,
he's like busting his butt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And as a kid, I wasn't allowed to have cable. I didn't have internet, cell phone. I didn't have a car. I wasn't allowed to have a girlfriend. So my time was spent creating things. I grew up on 100 acres of woods. So.
Oh, really? So it was like a real outdoorsy kind of.
Really outdoorsy. So
childhood?
I got to really improve my imagination, my creativity as a kid. I got to go out in the woods and build things and start fires and.
That's interesting.
Things like that. So I think that really helped with my skills in terms of creativity and.
Okay, so you weren't like a kid that was had a mobile phone on the internet a lot, let's say as a child.
Right, or video games, things like that, and that was rare back then because I was a '90s baby, so that was all we were enjoying all those luxuries at that time.
Right.
So I was one of the very few friends that kids I knew in school that didn't have those things.
I see.
So I was spent drawing Legos.
Right. Cool.
And
I think that really does help stimulate your creativity. Like my background is, I studied music a lot growing up. I played saxophone, played in bands and different things. And my parents were very adamant about. At that time, it was like I was 80s, a little older than you are.
Yeah.
TV was just coming out, and we could not get cable. She's like, "You're not having cable."
No. It's smart.
Because she's just like, you could see what it's going to do to you. You're just going to be sitting in front of the TV all day.
Yep.
And especially as a child, that's like you need to be active and experience the world and use your mind in different ways and not just be passive.
Right. So I was really thankful for that.
When you're out in the world, you need to be active and figuring things out on your own.
And it's funny, as a kid, I thought I was being tortured.
Right.
I thought it was the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Right.
I was like, oh, I can't do this.
Yeah.
But now I'm so thankful for it later in life.
Yep.
And I did 4-H too, so I had pigs and goats.
Oh, 4-H,
so
right.
that taught me a lot of discipline. You can't not go feed your goat or shovel. It's garbage out there.
Right.
So
right.
That taught me a lot of discipline. And so I graduated high school with like a 3.8. I was a pretty smart kid. I didn't really try too hard though. I was kind of like distracted. I wanted to, ADHD, and I was always trying to draw and create things like I've always done. And I went to college, and having that strict childhood, I wasn't with a girlfriend. I finally had a cell phone. Never drank before. Never did any of those things before.
Right. So pretty innocent by the time you got to college.
Pretty innocent. So I got to college and smoked pot for the first time.
Okay.
Drank for the first time.
Right.
Met a girl for the first time for the most part, and so I was stuck in that world of pleasure.
Right.
And I put all my classes to the side, and at the end of the semester, I found out my GPA was a .010.
Oh my goodness!
All F's in
how did that happen?
all F's and a D in psychology, because I pretty much begged for the D.
Right.
And so I'm like, dang, I'm not.
Wow. So this is like your freshman year. This is like a big transition, and you're like, oh my god,
huge,
overwhelming because you haven't dealt with this stuff before, really.
Nope. And it was a huge eye opener for me because I was like, in school ingrains in your mind that school is like your way to success, right?
That's right.
School is your only way to success, and I'm like, wow, I got a .010. How am I going to be successful?
A little bit of a wake-up call.
Right. So I'm not going to be successful. I got a .010. So I'm like, I need to do something for myself now that's going to push me to become more successful. Should I come back next semester and try again? Or should I do something that's way out of the ordinary that I've never wanted to do to push me to that limit? And I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this next semester. There's no way I'm going to. Okay. I know myself.
What were you thinking going to college? Like, what were you thinking about studying? What were your interests at this point?
Marketing.
Okay. It was marketing. Okay.
It was marketing. But really the only reason I wanted to be a marketer is because I wanted to work for IMG, which is the world's largest sports market. I wanted to be a sports agent.
Yeah, great agents, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to do, and I was always on the fence. I've always changed my mind. And so I had that decision. I was like, should I do it next semester, or should I join the military? That was my only other option I could think of that would actually give me the discipline I needed to be successful.
Okay, so your family doesn't have a connection to the military? Like my
brother was in the military.
Your brother was?
My older brother was in the Marine Corps. Okay. So I saw him go through it. I saw how it changed him.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how deep you want me to get into this, but he got caught smoking pot and stuff as a older 18-year-old, 19-year-old. My mom, put the hammer down on him,
Right.
And so he was like, I'm going to join the military, and he left for the military. He came back a completely new guy.
Right. And you saw that transformation, like right before your eyes, right?
Yeah. I was like, man. I was like, you changed.
So he probably came back. He was like in better shape.
He
stood up straighter.
Yep.
Right. He was more focused about life.
He had money. He was smarter.
Right.
He was very well mannered. I was like, man, I could use that. So I decided to.
So this is an interesting thing here, which I think people sometimes don't recognize in their own life or dismiss a little bit, is finding a really good role model, like someone, like a place that you want to go to and get to. Like you saw your brother and you're like, hey, I could use some of that, and that's a great model to use. And you start looking at their path, like where did they go, where do they come from, and how did they make it happen for themselves, right? So I think, like, especially as you get into this, entrepreneurial business, where you met Seva, and as you go along in life,
right,
where you understand, like, hey, this is a good thing. This is a good model for me, and if I do these things, you will get the success you're looking for. You know?
And the thing was, I didn't copy his model. I saw what he did to become a better person, and I knew I didn't want to be gone for 4 or 5 years at a time in Japan.
Okay.
I wanted to finish. I wanted to be back in the normal world. I still wanted to be a human being, a civilian.
Right.
So I was like, what can I do to have best of both worlds?
Okay.
So I joined the reserves. I joined the Navy.
Okay.
I heard the Navy was like the most prestigious type. It's for the smarter type people. So I wanted to do the Navy. I got like an 80 on my ASVAB, which is pretty good.
Okay.
And I didn't tell my parents I was joining at all.
Okay.
I just did it. I didn't tell anybody.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
wow.
because I didn't want to have any back
right.
push.
Right.
I didn't want to have anyone pushing me a different direction I didn't want to go.
Distracting you or making you,
so
change your mind.
So I decided to do it on my own, and they'll find out eventually, right? And so I joined the Navy Reserves, and I had 3 job choices when I entered. I had a nuclear engineer, so that was, I heard, was like a really hard school, a hospital corpsman, and a dental tech. So I chose to be a hospital corpsman.
Okay.
Which is really weird for me because I actually hated blood as a kid, and my parents used to make me cry by singing like the song "Raindrops Fall on My Head," and they would change that up with "Blood Drops Falling."
Oh wow!
And I'd be crying in the back seat, and so becoming
it's good for a few therapy sessions there.
Yeah, so becoming a medic was definitely not in my vision for the future.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. My mom is a cardiac nurse and been in the medical field forever, and just her coming home telling me stories of, blood and guts and stuff that she's had to deal with. I'm like, I just never got into that when growing up. Even though I was into science, so I studied physics, became an engineer and such.
Yeah.
But wow, so that's pretty cool. So you joined the reserves.
Yep.
And that, what was that experience like? And are you working another job at the same time, or how does that work when you're in the reserves?
Yeah, so when I came back into the reserves, you go through your boot camp and your A school and training and things like that. You come back home and you do once a month, 1 weekend a month, and then you obviously need a part-time job or a full-time job because you're only making.
You got to sustain yourself.
Yeah, you're only making like $350 every month through the reserves.
Right.
I was working at UH Ahuja, which is a really nice hospital in here in Beechwood. Right. So that was my job while I was in the reserves, and I was taking classes. But we can get into that. I mean, I was doing so much stuff back. That was like that was the most successful point in my life. Okay. Actually, because I was doing so many things at once.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to get into that now.
Well, I'm kind of curious what kind of led to your path. Like, obviously you get out of the military and you take these other corporate sort of full-time jobs when you get out of there, right?
So my path to the corporate lifestyle was like super. Like I've had so many different jobs and careers. I've always been that I want to test this out and see if I like this.
Okay.
Or if I'm not happy.
That's a great idea. So this is again where I'm coming from. Everybody, just so kind of get some background about me a little bit. Is I was a more traditional sort of experience, at least kind of on the surface, let's say. I got out of school. I worked for a big, automotive manufacturer, a big corporate job. And I was in the corporate scene for about 16 years, 16, 17 years, something like that. But I knew it was not at my core, like who I was. I was like, hey, this is interesting. I want to explore it, figure it out. But I've always been a musician as well, so I've always lived in these two almost diametrically opposed lifestyles of, rigidity and getting up early in the morning and travel and real intensity, and then music of being a little more fun and loose and staying up late, etc. And I knew at some point I wanted to break free, but I kind of it's taken me a little time just to develop myself in this way. But early on, it sounds like you kind of had this notion of, hey, it's okay to experiment. Like I felt if I would have left the corporate world after 5 years, that I wouldn't have known what I wanted to get out of it. It was. And I think it's that I wasn't willing to start experimenting, I guess.
I think it's just that fear that people have in their head, like, what's going to happen to me if I leave, right?
Right. Exactly. And that was the fear I had in my head.
Yeah, and I went through so many struggles even before I even went to boot camp. Like, I don't know if I'll share this with you real quick. I sold my college car after my first semester. It was a rusty Toyota Camry. And I spent all my money on a round-trip ticket to go to San Francisco, where I'm originally from, to see my father, who I haven't talked to in years and years, right? Okay. I want to see my dad before I go to boot camp and things like that. So I fly to San Francisco. He says, I'll pick you up at the airport, things like that. I show up at the airport. He's not there. Hey, you're going to have to take a cab to come to my house. Okay. So I spent most of my remaining money to show up at his house, and he's living on this, like, construction yard in this shipping container. I thought that was really weird back then. I didn't. Nowadays, I love shipping container homes, but so it was really weird. First thing he asked me, like after a couple basic questions, he's asked me, "Hey, can I borrow $100 from you?" I'm like, "That's kind of weird. Why are you asking?"
Yeah, this is your dad.
This is my real dad.
Your real dad asking you for money.
First time I've seen him in probably 7 years. He asked me the basic question: How's your mom? How's things going? Right. And then he's out of nowhere, "Can I borrow $100?" And so I, being my dad, I'm like, "Sure." It was actually my last $100 I had to me too. So I had 7 days in California ahead of me. Right. So I was just praying that he'd actually pay me back like he said. Right. Next day he goes out and he's like, "I'm gonna go spend this $100 in this car part. That's why I couldn't pick you up." Right. And so I'm like, "Yeah, let me go with you. I want to spend some time with you." And he's like, "No, you can't come with me." Okay. So I thought that was kind of weird. He comes back later. He goes directly to the porta potty on the property in the back corner and he's in that porta potty for like an hour and a half. And I'm just like, okay, this is kind of weird. Going on. Kind of weird. And then he comes out acting all crazy, yelling at me for like really no reason. I was just like really confused. I was like, I'm an emotional guy. Being 18 and like about to go to boot camp, and I was out there to see my father in years and years. I'm just like, why is this happening to me? Like I had all these high expectations, and it was just hit me in the face like this is going horrible. And then he hits me with, hey, I met this woman. This is a couple hours later. He's like, I met this woman online in Chicago. I'm going to go out to Chicago and see this girl. She's like, he's like, you know, you're going to have to find somewhere to stay. You can't stay here. He's like, he didn't even say sorry. And that,
right.
It's hard for me to like put it into words because it's like
hard to wrap your head around, especially at a young age like that.
Still today, it's still like, I can't believe that actually happened.
Right.
So I'm standing there. He leaves. I'm standing there outside of his fenced-in construction yard with my giant bag of clothes. And I'm like, he paid me back. Thank God he paid me back. So I had $120. He gave me like $20 in interest. Such a nice guy, I know.
Okay.
And I'm like, shit, I can't buy a hotel. I got 5 days left in California.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell do I do? I'm 18. I've never been in a situation like that. So I walked.
Sink or swim at this point, right?
I walked to the nearest BART station, which is the train station that goes around San Francisco.
Yeah, Bay Area Regional Transit, I think. Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, I never even thought about that.
Right.
And so I'm sleeping outside the BART station for the next 4 days. I wake up, I'll buy a ticket, and I would ride the bus around the train all around all day, so I could sleep well because I was too paranoid to sleep at night.
Sure.
There's other people outside sleeping, and
absolutely.
That was like my first real experience, like with super hard struggles, and I think that really helped me. Like that helped my mental strength, like to take more risks in life and things like that. That was like my first breaking point.
I gotcha.
So that was like that was a huge turning point for me in terms of like my mental strength.
Wow, and this is right before
going to boot camp too.
Right before boot camp. Wow.
So I show up the next day at home and I leave immediately back for boot camp. So I get on the bus and then I get thrown into that boot camp environment. So it's like my mental strength was being tested like crazy.
No kidding.
Those last couple months.
Right.
So I think that was like what gave me the ability to take risks.
I see. So like so later on you're thinking like, gosh, if you could live through those experiences, I can change. I can quit my job. What
bad could really happen to me? You know?
Yeah, exactly. I see where you're coming from. Well, that's interesting. So that's just something to keep in mind as the world's changing so quickly now with these digital technologies and just downsizing and how all the retail scene is changing. I mean, I think we're at kind of close to another inflection point of just the economy changing in general, the world changing a little bit.
Yeah.
Plus, it's being connected more so than ever. So there's a lot of just dynamics going on, and that as these upheavals come, we need to figure out how to reinvent ourselves. Kind of to take advantage of the opportunities. I think.
Yeah, and you could do so through content. Content's how you reinvent yourself nowadays.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So so you get through that. You take these corporate jobs, and you start learning about yourself. Kind of realizing, hey, I'm more of a creative thinker or nonlinear thinker or whatever it might be. You didn't like the environment that you're in with your last corporate job, so you quit and you end up here at the Launchhouse.
Yep. And
you start learning about digital technology. So what was that like for you in terms of you didn't have this background in studying software or being technical, etc. Did that mean that you couldn't be successful, or what were you thinking about it like? Or it was just like, man, it's a whole new world. I need to learn about it.
Yeah, I was actually really, really happy and like excited to start learning more because I mean, when I met Seva, he had all this knowledge that I didn't have that I wanted. So it was like a perfect partnership for where I could help him out with his creativity and he could help me out with my technology, my technical skills.
Because he's more technical, and he did go to school for
and I'm the
software
more
engineering,
outgoing,
I think. Yeah.
Right, and I'm the more outgoing, creative guy. So it was a good partnership. I got to learn a lot about the stuff, and so I just dove into it, learning about Facebook ads and how to optimize your website and build a website. And I was messing around on Wix before that, but never like a coding style website or WordPress, things like that. So it was really, really good experience for me, and how to hire a freelancer on Upwork.com and how to handle.
So what is Upwork.com?
Upwork
for those
is
people that are just kind of discovering some of these kinds of things.
Yeah, so if you feel like a small business and you need to outsource some work, you need like a designer or a marketer or someone to make some phone calls for you or anything. I mean, really anything you need. You go on Upwork.com and you can hire freelancers from all over the world. India, you can hire them here in the country that are a little bit more expensive. Anywhere in the world, you can hire these people to do your work for you and for very good costs. And you have to really cipher your way through some of the bad ones because you'll get some bad freelancers.
I see.
But at the end of the day, there's a lot of good ones on there too that can really help move your business
Now,
forward.
when you interact with them, is it totally online through email?
Skype.
Do you ever call, or do you call them on Skype?
Usually it's a Skype conversation.
Okay, so you actually talk to them.
Yep, you actually talk to them.
I know some of these services like Fiverr I've used a little bit, which
Yeah.
is FIVERR.com. It's another type of service website or company that offers these types of services, but that's more, I'd say, less interactive in a way. Sometimes depending on what you want to pay for. I guess.
Yeah, you just send like a short description of what you want through the message, and that's it. That's all. Okay. That's your only communication on Fiverr.
I gotcha.
But that's also a good win.
I've never tried Upwork, so maybe for some of the projects I'm working on, I'll try that.
Yeah.
Maybe so I flush out the.
Upwork actually is like the largest
freelancer
marketplace on the internet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the largest one.
Right on. So you learned about Upwork. You learned about Facebook ads and such.
Yep.
How did this idea to start publishing come about? So I saw you wrote a book, and actually I've actually read this book. Everybody, it's pretty fun book.
Nice.
It's a fun read. It's a quick read.
Right.
But how'd you get into that? Tell me what the title of the book is, first of all.
So the title of the book is The Modern Gentleman, which that book was more of like a test, so I could test out the Kindle publishing system.
Okay.
I wanted to see how easy it was to put on a book, how well it was marketed.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to do anything for it. I just want to put it on there and then see what happened. Right?
I see. So let me just stop you there. And I've had this experience, and people that are just getting into this or thinking about reinventing themselves in the digital world or marketplace, there's so many kind of interrelated things that you need to learn, and really entrepreneurial business ideas that are out there that it can be overwhelming. And so I think you do end up kind of nibbling at it and creating little products to kind of test and learn about all of these systems.
Yep.
So there's ways you can outsource work. There's ways you can start publishing books or videos or podcasts or whatever it might be, and they're all interrelated. And there's ways to promote them. So using paid ads, AdWords, PLAs, all these kinds of things. So this was a trial, but I think it's stuff that you're into too, of course. So
right, because writing is a passion of mine. So I wanted to set myself up for the future. In terms of when I'm ready to actually really, because I have a book I've been working on for a really long time, and I'm going to continue to work on it for a while until it's ready for it to be done. And so I thought that was a good test for me to just put out a quick book on online dating style stuff called The Modern Gentleman.
All right.
And
so it's still out there on Kindle?
Still out there, yeah.
All right. So if someone searches it, what would they search for? Where do they go to search for it?
You just go to you just type in Kindle books on Google, and click the first link you see, and then type in The Modern Gentleman. You should be able to find it. Should probably be like the third or fourth one down.
And what's it about?
It's about how to be successful in the online dating world, but also to maintain your gentleman status. How not to be a douchebag or take advantage of women online by trying to be someone you're not.
Right.
So you can always get what you want, and get a lot of success in terms of a healthy relationship or a one night stand, and whatever you want, as long as you're transparent and you want to go about it in a nice, positive way. Usually you can get what you want. I know that's probably like a weird way to say it, but
all right.
That's
right. Well, that way you're not trying to persuade somebody to do something they're not interested in doing.
Right.
Or taking advantage
There's
of
no reason to fake who you are just to get
Yeah.
something that you want to hurt someone's feelings.
Right.
You could tell them what you want, and 9 times out of 10 they're going to be the same way.
Right.
They're human too. So.
Right. Exactly. Everybody needs or is looking for something.
Right.
Needs something in their lives. So cool. So did you have a lot of sales, or what do you think of it having it be out there now for a while?
So I've only had like 4 or 5 downloads. And I think that's just due a lack of not actually promoting it. So
I was just going to say you're not promoting it.
Yeah, I literally just put it on there just to put it on there and just test out the uploading system.
Okay.
And it was actually really easy. So Kindle makes it so easy now to self-publish.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to go out and find a publishing agency or anything like that
Right.
nowadays. You can create your own book covers and everything and put it online. The one thing I would suggest is obviously just getting an editor to edit your book for you before you put it on.
Yeah, second set of eyes for sure.
Yep. But yeah, you can edit and publish a book very easily nowadays.
Right. I know there's some people that's their whole business model is they just publish Kindle books.
Yeah, and that's how
they got into it and they like doing it, and they just look for trends, or they're just really have maybe they have expertises and they have master's degrees or PhDs in a certain topic, and they're just going for it.
Yeah.
Just in this publishing world. So that's one idea right there that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's why I want to test it out,
into.
because I figured one day I do want to do that. I want to, if I can make some money down the road, I want to write full time.
Right.
I like
and again, it kind of folds into promoting any business that you're in, which we'll get around to talk about the safety supply company that you're now involved in soon here. But you're looking long term as well, so it's like it serves both needs, and so that's pretty interesting.
And also, I mean, as a business, if you write yourself an ebook as a company, it makes you way more legit. It kind of makes you like the what am I trying to think? What I'm thinking of?
More of a thought leader, someone that's looked at as a more full service supplier.
Right. So like if I'm a digital marketing agency and I have an ebook out too, it makes me look way more legit. I actually know what I'm doing. I have this book out, people can read, download for free, whatever. So that it helps make you legitimize your business too.
And it's helping you put out some value up front there. So customers, it's a way to build trust with people, right?
Yep.
So it's like, hey, if this guy's willing to really give me some great actionable information, and I haven't even bought anything from him yet, like when I do start working with him, he's probably going to be someone good to work with.
Yeah, it's super beneficial for the growth of your business.
Yeah, for sure. So that's a great idea. So now in doing this modern, it's called the Modern Gentleman book.
Yep.
Okay, I was talking to you about like online dating apps and stuff like that, and you're like kind of into them now because it's like you're the age where you're really dating and stuff.
Yeah.
And you have kind of this expertise. Were you going to do anything with that?
Yes.
Or not, I guess. Or,
I do want to. So I am the idea type of person. I've always had all these passions all over the place. And the one show I grew up watching, I would spend, my parents had cottages and I'd watch TV there while they did some work. And I'd always watch The $1 Million Matchmaker on Bravo.
Okay. I love that show.
I love that show too. And I was like, man, this lady.
It's fun to watch people's stories.
Yeah. I was like, this lady's got it made. She helps these people find love, and she gets to connect them. And I was like, this looks like I want to do that.
Right.
And I've always been good at relationships. I thought I was always good at talking to girls and things like that.
Right.
And so now that the world's completely changed, in the last 5 years in terms of dating apps, Tinder, Bumble, POF, eHarmony, Match, all those things, farmers.com, right? I mean, everything, every niche. Tons of them. So it's like these people, especially the older crowd, they're lost online. They don't know how to navigate it. They don't know how to use it properly to, get the matches that they want, attract the people that they really want.
Right.
And they're just lost. So they're getting bad leads.
Yeah, it's hard enough to kind of put a profile together, sign up, just go through the process of kind of just getting into it. Mm-hmm. But no one really tells you techniques or ways to actually use the app, right?
Yeah, I think the issue is that people try to spend so much time getting to know the person over the app that they actually never get to the point where they're scheduling a date or meeting in person, because the whole point of that app, or any app out there right now for the dating world, is a lead generation system, right?
Right.
You're generating leads for your personal relationship life,
right? And
you're going to get in front of them, and the point of the thing is you want to schedule a date. That's it. Just like a sales call.
Right.
You want to schedule the meeting and you want to make the sale. So
right.
You get a girl on your dating app. You just want to introduce yourself, talk to her for a little bit, and meet her in person. That's the first thing you want to meet her in person. Don't spend more than 2-3 days talking to her on the app.
Right.
Because you're gonna end up saying something stupid on the app.
Right. And it's hard to interpret. Sort of just
it's
type
so hard
words.
To read.
What if it was that sarcastic? Was he serious?
Right.
Right.
And for some people, they get new matches every other day or every day. Mm-hmm. So it's like if you forget about that person for a little bit, they're getting buried under many more matches. So that's the thing, is you have to, if you're interested in somebody, set the date and meet them in person and see where it goes. Don't spend much time talking to them online, because it'll never work. Right.
Yeah. Chances are, the longer that kind of that style conversation goes, it's kind of going nowhere.
It's going to fall through.
Right.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. So, all right. So you're digging into all these digital technologies. You're working with Seva. So how did this partnership start to come about with you? Because you guys, I think this evolved into a couple other dropshipping style businesses before you got to the safety business, right?
Yeah. So when we came to Launchhouse, we were working on Seva Solutions, which is the digital marketing agency that we were working on.
Okay.
And we were working with anyone we could at the time, like everything under the sun.
Okay. So Seva Solutions was just a general agency sort of approach.
Web development and digital marketing. Yeah.
Okay, so you're doing so websites for people, digital marketing, helping them
SEO,
target. Okay, search engine optimization. Okay, so kind of like a general thing where you guys really weren't into a specific niche, working within a specific industry doing this. You were sort of, hey, I'm open to the world, whatever project comes our way.
Yep.
You know.
And so coming to the Launchhouse with that business model, we instantly got pushback on, hey, you guys need a niche. You guys need to find your niche.
Yeah. So talk about a little bit of the benefits of the folks that you met here, and just kind of people that are just hanging around talking to each other during the day, sharing their experience, and that was some of the feedback you guys got, right?
Yeah, definitely. So there's a lot of seasoned entrepreneurs that work out of here, and they have a lot of great advice and things like that to help direct you and your business to experience better growth or better results, things like that. So you guys need your niche. You guys got to hone down on one specific group and attack, right?
Right.
And so we're like, okay, well, who has money? Who has a need for digital marketing that can't do it themselves, who probably isn't outsourcing it right now? And after a few different niche debates, we figured out that, dentists and medical professionals should be our niche.
Okay.
So we rebranded our whole website. Took us a month or so, got our website perfect. And we started going after these dental and medical professionals, private offices, things like that. And, it wasn't working out well at all. We were making almost no money. And we're like, we need to make some side cash. We need some side cash flow. And, nowadays, the whole trend going on now is drop shipping.
Right.
And so I was starting to gain my experience on any kind of web platform, how to market. I was already, at that point, I was knowledgeable on pretty much every aspect of how to run an online business.
Okay.
And so obviously Seva was more advanced.
So were you working with the e-commerce platforms yet?
Shopify.
Yeah. Had you been working with Shopify before you got to this point?
Not previously, but I did some. We had built 2 websites prior to that for an e-commerce store. So Backtech Snacks and this paintball.
Okay, so you're using 2 different e-commerce solutions, I guess.
Yeah.
And let's back up a little bit, and just for people that don't understand exactly what we're talking about in terms of drop shipping. So explain what drop shipping is real quickly.
Drop shipping is having an online store set up and built where you display products and services, things like that, but you're not actually storing or touching this product. So let's say I have a store, like, for instance, our store was Thrifty Gentleman. We had a line of clothes, shoes, accessories for men.
Right.
But we didn't own or have any of these products stored at our...
Right, so no inventory.
No inventory.
Okay.
And all you would do is you'd work directly with the suppliers, and if an order came in through your store, you shoot the information over to your supplier, and they drop ship it, which means they send it directly from their warehouse to the customer.
Okay.
The only issue is it takes a little bit longer than most if you were to own the product.
Right.
But you don't have to worry about logistics or packaging or... managing your inventory, things like that. So it's a really easy turnkey system to start a business and start making some money almost
It's pretty low cost to get in.
Very low cost.
If you start your business that way, right?
Yeah, about $100.
Okay, because you're not really, and that's really kind of the development for the website and the e-commerce platforms, which Shopify is an e-commerce platform, meaning it gives you the ability to load. It's a software program that gives you the ability to load in products, and also has a payment gateway attached to it, and it's kind of like Wix is, where it's kind of like, point and click. It's kind of an easy system that has been put together now for these e-commerce stores.
They make it easy, but you can't really make a really nice, engaging website just through the basics that it provides you. So you have to have a little bit of skills, or use the freelancers on Upwork like we did to do some extra design coding, thing like that.
Gotcha.
And then the software that you would use on Shopify to upload the products directly from AliExpress, which is like the main dropshipping website. It's called Oberlo. You download that app, and then you're able to just go on AliExpress and click the product that you want, and it goes directly to your store. So it's really, really simple. And that's what we started to do. So we started to supplement our income by designing a store called the Thrifty Gentleman. And that was actually an idea I had two years ago or so.
Okay.
Because I liked Goodwill a lot, right?
Okay.
So I wanted to take really nice dress shirts and turn them into pocket squares.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And I was like, there's probably more that I can do than just pocket squares, right?
Right.
And I was like, let's start the store called the Thrifty Gentleman. It's like an old idea I had. So we built the store and drop shipped all the stuff from China and AliExpress, and we were making some sales. We were actually doing not bad, but we hit a lot of road bumps. Drop shipping, you have to find the right suppliers.
Yes.
Because you can really hit a lot of road bumps if you don't work with the right people.
Right. There's not a lot of financial risk because you're not holding inventory, but the shipping and finding the right suppliers and making sure the goods are quality that you're supplying. I mean, there's other issues with
That's your most time-consuming part of the business, is to find the right suppliers and products to sell.
Right.
Because our first couple of orders were messed up.
Right.
Excuse me, sorry. They got the wrong size, the wrong color. things like that. Packaging was all messed up.
So is that store still up and running, or are you guys still doing anything with it?
It's still up, but it's not operational, so you can't actually buy anything from it now. But you can still go on there and check it out.
So you're kind of like, because you've kind of now got this new opportunity before you that you guys really started to jam on, so I'm kind of excited to see how this develops.
Yeah.
You're kind of letting that one go now, right?
Yeah.
And is Seva Solutions are you guys still doing anything with that or no?
Well, I think Seva is.
Okay.
Him and I don't work on that anymore together.
I see.
I think he's doing that.
So maybe he's taking that maybe on his own now.
He definitely is. He's doing it just kind of like to have some money coming in while our business is growing.
Right.
Now our business now is profitable already. From day one, it was profitable, but it's having 3 business partners and then an investor in the business.
Right.
The profits are being dispersed, so we need to make some side cash. So
for sure.
So he's doing that for his side hustle.
I gotcha. So so all this experience kind of has led up to this moment in time now to this new safety supply business that you guys are running. So you and Seva are together running this business, and it's been a real coup so far for you guys. I just in the last few months, you've only been doing it the last few months, and I've noticed like much more activity out of both you guys. You guys are getting in samples and supplies, and and the room we're sitting in right now. Tell everybody where we're sitting right now.
We're actually sitting in our inventory room with about $10,000 worth of stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing. Tell us what do we have around us right now.
So we got like high-vis vests, we have high-vis shirts, long-sleeve shirts, coats, sweaters, zip-ups.
Okay, and high-vis means high visibility, right? So for construction workers that are out there?
Yeah, you see construction workers with, things like that. And then just a couple doors down in the other room, we have our safety gloves from a partnership we got with a company in Sweden called Eureka. So that's what really separates us. That's what makes us unique from most safety distributors in America.
Okay.
We have this glove line from this famous glove company over in Europe that's been spread around like wildfire over there, and now they're looking for their U.S. entry.
I see.
So we're their entry point. So that helps us separate ourselves when we're talking to people. Hey, we have this unique glove brand. Right. You'll be the only one that has them in the area. So that helps us out a lot too.
Okay. So now the safety supply business, it sounds like maybe it's a little bit boring, or it's traditional, or there's big suppliers that are already in it that own it, like Grainger and these big distributor kind of guys,
right?
Which I think is all true, but you guys have kind of really a different take on it, and are kind of bringing it kind of into the new digital world in a faster way than some of the other companies can, just because they have these legacy systems that they use, legacy style of the people and the cultures that work there, all that kind of stuff. So maybe talk a little bit about how you're putting this stuff online and how you're finding new clients and attacking this landscape.
So we're putting it online. We just do the traditional Shopify store. We uploaded all of our product images and things like that to the store.
I want to stop you right there. So when you say traditional Shopify store, that makes me chuckle. It makes me laugh a little bit, because maybe to your experience it's traditional.
True.
To everyone else's experience, this is the point. They don't even know about it.
Right.
It's brand new. Okay, right. And they have no clue. A lot of people that this capability is even out there. That you as individuals, it's 2-3 guys that you're working with, can put a site like this together. It can look professional. It can be on par with any other competitor out there today. And actually, if you didn't know any better, you might stop by your site and think like, wow, these guys are the leaders, because your site looks so good, it functions so well, you have the right products, good pricing, all that kind of stuff. And you just put it together in the last 3 months, right? 4 months?
It actually we finished our website in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And we haven't really done much. We'll make a few picture changes here and there, just differentiate once in a while.
Right.
But it took us like 3 weeks to do the site, me and Seva together. And I think it's like one of the nicest safety sites out there too, like you said. So we took a lot of pride in it, and it looks amazing. And that's the thing that separates it. If you go on a Uline or a 3M website,
right.
It's a straight black hole. You click one product and you get led to this system where like there's thousands and thousands of other products, and it's like, shoot, which one do I need, right? So we just kind of find that the best of the best. We make it really easy to navigate, nice pictures, and we don't throw too much at you, so you're not overwhelmed.
Right.
We just make it simple with the best products. So that's how we kind of separate ourselves in terms of usability and user experience.
Mm-hmm.
But the Shopify store, it's really easy for anyone to pick up, honestly. You can go on there and watch some YouTube. They offer a lot of free training.
Right.
So yeah, it was
yeah, so that's kind of a good find, and maybe explain a little bit how you kind of got the idea to work with this glove manufacturer?
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from? It just didn't fall in your lap out of the blue. Or I guess it kind of did, maybe.
So that all came about by making the decision. It was a long-term effect of making the decision to become an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
So when I quit my job at Northwestern, Meeting Seva,
Right.
doing our business together, coming to the Launchhouse,
Right.
connecting with other entrepreneurs that are like me, I met my friend Dale, who has an industrial distribution business, and over the last 3 months that we were here, from like November, those next 3 months,
Right.
we became friends, and Dale was killing it. He went from 0 to $1 million in his first year in sales, and he's like,
And he's selling industrial products, but it was a different type of product.
Yeah, so he's doing like aluminum scaffolding, so
Right.
support beams for structures.
Right.
And he's like, there's an
And it was someone you met here at the Launchhouse.
Yeah,
right?
I met him at the Launchhouse. Yeah, so the Launchhouse was what really made it happen. If I wasn't here, I would never have had this opportunity of this business.
Right.
So the value of connecting and networking with other people is, and you can't put a price on it.
Right. Well, also the mindset of, hey, I want to get in the mix of this environment. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. I mean, you have to have a little bit of faith or just sort of
one decision away from changing your life.
Right.
That's all it is.
It's all it is, right? And else actually have to have the wherewithal and some of the financial resources. Some people don't have the luxury to quit their job or change, to a career that they wish they would had.
Yeah.
If they're in a rut or something like that. But I think that's interesting, and I've known that to be true kind of no matter where I go, especially like I've moved around different cities here and there, and you feel sort of like isolated sometimes or alone, or it's like, oh my gosh, I got to get myself out of this
right.
funk or figure out how to connect with people. And
the way
if you just put yourself in the mix of where you want to be, all of a sudden people see you there and they think you're part of that ecosystem, and all of a sudden you become part of them, and you start making connections.
Yep. And just a quick little rant on how I view that.
Mm-hmm.
I look at everybody as like they carry 100 doors with them.
Mm-hmm.
So if I wasn't at the Launchhouse and I wasn't surrounding myself with people that were other entrepreneurs running their businesses,
right.
If I was hanging out with just an average Joe in Cleveland down the street who was working a 9-to-5 job and goes home and plays video games every night and
right.
does that, so he probably has 100 doors that lead down the road of 9-to-5 jobs and connections that have company or like
that's right.
other jobs. And they are other people that go home and watch movies and live their life and they could repeat the next day, right? If I come to Launchhouse and I'm hanging out with people that have 100 doors leading towards entrepreneurship or connections that have their businesses or connections that can help me make my business. So I look at it as like I need to be around people that are more like-minded than me because they most likely have doors that lead in the same direction I go. So coming to the Launchhouse opened up all these doors that led me to the direction I wanted to go, which is where I am now. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, that's an awesome experience, especially to learn and have this positive feedback on at a younger age.
Yeah.
So I guess I had that too. Like when I was working in the corporate world, it's like, yes, I've met a lot of great motivated people and a lot of connections, and networking is definitely important no matter what you do, where you go. But it's sort of like a nice realization to understand at some point like who you are and finding your own tribe. Yep. I think that's important of like, if you're frustrated or knowing that you need to change, but you're not sure how to change or what you need, how you need to reinvent yourself, or how do I acquire those new skills? I mean, literally a year ago, you were not a digital marketing expert a year ago, right?
No skills.
I mean, now it's like, obviously you had your sales skills and your personal skills, but now you have this combination that's like, you're going to kill it.
Yeah, that's
right?
It was the exact combination I needed to be successful in this new world of business.
Right.
Yeah, I had those skills to call people up and, smooth them up, sweet talk them over the phone and things like that.
That'll never go out of style, of course.
Never go out of style.
Yep.
But nowadays, if you don't exist online and your content's not on point and you're not branding yourself online, your business, you don't exist in the physical world nowadays.
Right. And I think this could be a boomerang effect kind of for you, kind of back the other way. So you're into this entrepreneurial world, you're developing these skills, and now you're probably 100 times more attractive to the corporate world. More so maybe than you would have been if you kind of just stayed on a normal path. Perhaps.
Right, yeah. If they knew all the extra skills I had, then they'd probably want to sweep me up real quick.
Right. So very interesting. So where do you go from here? What's the next step, or what do you see playing out, or Are there any projects? Obviously, you're going to keep developing the supply business. Is that? Do you want to give out the website for that? I don't want to. Push you if you're interested in.
It's OhioSafetySupply.com.
Okay. OhioSafetySupply.com.
OhioSafetySupply.com.
Okay. So people are interested in. I'll have a. By the way, I'll have a few of these things we mentioned written down. It's kind of in the show notes. So people. Yeah. So after you hear the show, if you of course want to go to Jim's Reinventionrevolution.com, you can find it there once it gets posted. But sorry to interrupt. But
you're good.
Where do you see yourself going, or what do you see happening? Because I know you have some things kind of now that you're getting this little infrastructure scale to the business of what's happening.
So our vision for Ohio Safety Supply is we don't want to just be like another safety supply company that's pushing out high-vis apparel and hard hats and glasses and just the typical old school gear, right? We see ourselves as being like at the forefront of the future of technology and manufacturing and safety. So we want to have those smart glasses that are helping people be productive and to pick the right inventory and.
So tell me about these. So I saw these in a trade show magazine, and
you actually were the ones that
I dropped it on your desk. I don't know, it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago or something like that. And then came in like a few days later, and you're like, "Hey man, I saw them. We're gonna get some samples of them, and you guys are gonna try to start selling them." I mean, this is incredible.
It was crazy. So, I'm a huge believer in the law of attraction and like manifestation and things like that. And, you gave me those glasses to look at in the magazine. I was like, this is such a huge advancement for the manufacturing where I was like, this is what we need to, like, we need to be the forefront of this. We need to carry all this new shit, this, we screw the old school like all the old school stuff. We want to be the leaders in the future. So when people need the futuristic stuff that's going to improve their business, we're going to have it, right?
Right. So you're going to be kind of like the today's version of, technology, the platform in terms of interacting with you, like people are going to be able to find you online. Yep. People are going to be finding you through social media,
all the social media
whatever
platforms.
it is. But when they get there, you're not going to be, offering the 1950s state of the art kind of stuff.
We'll still have it for sale.
Well, of course, if it's still relevant, but you're going to have these new technologies as well. So it'll be a nice sort of coherent brand experience essentially for someone that comes and finds you.
Yep.
Which I think is cool.
And it was cool because after you dropped those glasses, the magazine off on our desk, we ended up going to a manufacturing and technology expo the following week.
Okay.
Where Intel was there with their smart glasses, and we got to try them on, and they're like, "Yeah, we'd love."
So what was your experience? So tell people about these things because these are pretty brand new.
Yeah, they're really cool. So you put them on. They have like a battery pack on one side that's very slim. It's not bulky or anything like that. They look actually really, really cool. And then on the one side they have an analog stick and like so you can control like the camera angle and things like that. So in the bottom right corner of your glasses there's a camera with a video, like a screen, very small screen, but it kind of looks really cool because it's in your glasses, so it looks bigger than it really is. So if, let's say you're working on a project and you're working in a electrical box, right, with a bunch of wires.
Okay.
And let's say, oh man, I don't know which wire I need to cut, right? So you can have a video chat with your boss.
If you're like, James Bonding it somewhere and you have to defuse the bomb.
Yep.
What happens?
So literally, your boss can see the camera footage from your glasses.
Okay.
They can see all the wires in there, and then they can directly communicate with you. Say, it's that one right there, and
wow. So you can reach out to any expertise in the world, like in real time.
Yep.
And be like, I need help with this project.
Yep.
Wow, right through the glasses.
Right through the glasses. But you'll have to have the software to download with it, though, too. It's called, I think it's Upscale. Upscale IO. I can't remember exactly.
Okay. Their operating system of some
Yeah, it's the
sort.
operating system. So you can have the glasses with the video camera, but you won't have like the full package if you don't buy the operating system.
I see.
So it literally helps you for distribution systems. Like if you're driving a forklift around and you need to pick a certain package, you have your glasses on, it'll tell you which one you need to grab. So I guess they put it into a company that had like 6% failure or 6% rate of mistakes. And I guess 2 months into it, they were down to 0 mistakes.
Wow, 0 rework or whatever they were doing.
Yeah, exactly. So the glasses really do make a difference if you are able to.
Because it's an enhanced way to, I guess, monitor what you're doing, or I know for ergonomic purposes as well. Like if you're looking down always or looking
so
up
excited
always,
thinking about this stuff because
you can put images that are basically like heads up that would work kind of similar like a heads up display, so you're not ergonomically stressing your body too much for repetitive tasks and all these kinds of things.
And so in terms of stressing your body, that's another thing we're going to be adding onto our store shortly as well. It's called Suit X, and it's an exoskeleton suit. It's not robotic. They have robotic ones.
Okay.
But basically, this suit allows you to, let's say you hold your hands up, right? Maybe after your arms up, holding them straight up.
Right.
Let's say after an hour, your arms are going to fall. Like you're going to have tired arms.
Sure.
You could have this suit on. You could have your arms up in the air infinitely for the rest of your life.
Right.
And they wouldn't get tired.
So it's added assist or whatever it's.
You squat down with the leg suit on. You stand back up. It uses your body weight to push you back up. So it's going to revolutionize the productivity and like the ability for a worker to go longer, harder, not get injured on the job.
Right.
So we're going to have these on our store as well. And we just want to have.
It sounds awesome.
They're so cool. And the thing is like, we're not going to just sell these products. Like, here's where we're also going to differentiate ourselves. We're going to consult these people on how to implement this technology, how to use the technology, how to, so we want to.
You're going to have this higher level of service, of capability. Like,
that's our vision.
Right, yeah. So your OEMs that come to you that need these supplies or whatever, you'd be like, hey, we can offer the goods at the right price, but we're going to be very knowledgeable about these products, and you're going to make sure you're always on the leading edge of the new technologies coming out.
Yep.
So cool. Well, that sounds awesome, man. God, we could talk about this all day long because I'm getting excited about it. But we got to wrap up here. So if there's, do you have any social media stuff or emails if people want to get a hold of you and follow what's going on with you or reach out to them? I mean, this is kind of the new connection economy. To kind of just talk about how to use your dating app properly.
Direct messaging on Instagram is the new email. So if you want to get a hold of me, that's the way.
Exactly. Want to get a hold of this book and you don't remember how to get it or something like that, or need some safety supplies. So how do people get a hold of you?
Best way to get a hold of me is you can hit me up on Instagram if you want. My Instagram name is The Impactful Human, and shoot me a direct message, shoot me a follow. I'm on LinkedIn as well, Michael Ryan Cash Jr. I'm on any platform, so
I'll find you.
Yeah.
And again, if you forget where to find him, you can find the Jim's Reinvention Revolution podcast at jimjimsreinventionrevolution.com. Go to the site. Please, if you like hearing the podcast, like it, share it, etc. Tell your friends about it. You can sign up on the email list, and you'll be notified when the new episodes come out. So, anyways, this was awesome talking to you. I really want to thank you so much for doing this. So
I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. And
to all your viewers out there, just know you're only one decision away from changing your life. So don't be afraid to make the decision.
Very good. All right. We'll talk to everybody next time. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you for listening to Jim's Reinvention Revolution podcast. If you want to hear more, join our mailing list at jimjimsreinventionrevolution.com. See you next time. And remember, the revolution has just begun. So dig in, embrace the process of reinvention, and start realizing the success you've always dreamed of.